focus on studying how leadership traits have a role in fostering innovation and resilience during crisis. In my opinion, these two words actually constantly collide because I see companies desperately wanting innovation in digital and green tech context, yet their own management practices, especially under pressure, often unintentionally kill the very talent and creativity they need. So today, sorry, we are going to talk about this. Can we move forward, please? This will be the agenda of today, the main points, let's say. Uh, Following the next slide, please. So, what comes to your mind when I say the year 2020? COVID-19, the crisis that formed a turning point, in my opinion. But at the same time, I would say that we are actually not just navigating out of a crisis, but we are more navigating through a state of permanent crisis and disruption. We are now talking about geopolitical disturbances, pandemic, technological changes, like they are fast enough that they bring in new challenges. So also when we talk about our current economic and business realities, we have two imperatives to talk about. Number one, what we talk about in this conference today is the digital and green transition. So it is no longer a niche. It is more of a core for modern business strategy. Let us say navigating the nexus is essential for survival and growth nowadays. But at the same time, this is what I want to add and focus on today in the presentation, that we have another element that is as important as the first one, which is to emphasize on that this transition also is not only about technology, but it's about people. It's about global talent management. Well, we can move forward. So here is the paradox. In high pressure environment, the default managerial responses is often to control, standardize, eliminate risk, and preferably predict. But this is precisely what stifles innovation and demotivates talent at the digital green frontier. So we are having these two sides, you know. And I have been so far talking about new realities of our current economy and so on. But in my opinion, it's not a new reality, but it's more of acceleration, and we are reaching a new level state of it because um, when we see even like literature from the 90s, there was already a direction to see companies as more dynamic structures and not just standardized ones. There was already focus on the innovation, the need of innovate and so on. So in my opinion, it's just the COVID-19 made it a turn point and accelerated this new state. So we can go forward. So under pressure, um, a rigid leader becomes more controlling, while an agile leader becomes more adaptive. This is the idea. This is the focus on my because I'm taking a background from my research. First of all, we will start from that and move forward. This is what I focus on nowadays because in the middle of all the changes, we have the human in the middle who is the leader, and depending on the requirements of nowadays atmosphere, business atmosphere, the focus on innovation, the accelerated digitalization, and so on, I identified a set of traits that may be important in a leader to navigate all of this. Is the agility as a personal trait. Also, the creativity and the ability to have entrepreneur mindset to capture opportunities. And finally, the audacity and the ability to take the risk. So also all this comes also until we can say under the trait activation uh, theory prospect because we have contextual cues, and these contextual cues usually are the ones affecting how a leader or employees even can react because after all they are humans. So we can move forward, please. This takes us to identify generally two types. Like we have the traditional style that goes with the structural view of the company, and we have the dynamic vision of a company as it requires agility, clear communication, empowering employees, and it bets on its human capital and their traits as much as on processes and protocols. So we can move forward, please. So here we can say, uh, like when we bridge both of the sides, like the research side and the practical side, we can talk about different aspects. First of all, the talent acquisition or the human resources part. It's true, we are talking about how we are going to recruit our leaders, our managers who are going to deal through all these challenges. But at the same time, nowadays is the reality that the best talent in digital and green fields themselves are more drawn to leaders who are agile and creative, not just efficient. They want to work for pioneers, not bureaucrats. And for fostering innovation, nowadays we have to know that we cannot comment on innovation. You cannot just comment it. Instead, we are more now needing to create the condition for it. So, for example, leaders with high openness create psychological safety, allowing teams to experiment, fail, co-create solution for, and this all helps to navigate digital and green challenges. We need to empower. Finally, let's take example of my sales manager position. So when I joined it was not in my it was not in my job description any sites that I am included in the strategic position of the company or anything. But still, I saw opportunity and I shared it. I shared, like, I mentioned that maybe it would be very interesting for the company to navigate the Middle East market. So when we talk about this, for example, a controlling manager may have dismissed it. In the other way, generally, we are talking now in idiosyncratic leader, even in oneself, sees the opportunity and acts. And this is what we call about micro innovation. We can go forward, please. So a framework for actions, we can take four main sides, let's say. First of all, from point of view of hiring and human resource management. We need more innovative and up-to-date procedures and also focuses. So, for example, we can use situational interviews that test for agility and creativity. I don't know, asking questions, for example, like tell me about the time or rule prevented innovation or what you did, like focusing more on other aspects in a, not more, but we add also and we focus on the human, not only the experiences. This goes also for the training. So, like maybe, for example, we move beyond traditional training using workshop simulators that put leaders under pressure in a safe to fail environment to observe and coach. And this also, talking about coaching can be a very interesting sphere to navigate either in research or in management. It's like there is more tendency towards that, especially nowadays we are talking about generational differences, accelerated digitalization, and so on. So the leader's role is moving from just leading, giving commands, and helping reaching goals. But now we talk about leader as a coach, as a trainer, as a mentor, and so on. Finally, another aspect about it would be like how we can encourage experimentation, but in a safe way. So this can be through celebrating well-reasoned failures as much as we celebrate success. So why this would encourage the risk-taking necessary for breakthroughs. And this, to sum it up, we may say that leaders must be comfortable not knowing everything and empowering their teams to find solutions. Because when we talk about the digital green nexus nowadays, it's complex. So leaders must be uh, like um, okay with the idea that they may not know and they have their followers more contributing and use like more communication style. So we can move forward, please. So here we go. The nexus of digital technology and green energy is not just like, let's say, conference theme. It is the undeniable future for our global economy, like the previous speaker already mentioned it. But as my research and experience have shown, this future isn't built on code and carbon credits alone, but it's built on human potential also. And this is very important for me. I think that we should not focus so much on digitalization and forget about that there are still humans navigating these changes. Also, for too long, we have tried to unlock this 21st century potential with 20th century key, and this is not suitable because the industrial era leadership model, which prizes control, predictability, and efficiency above everything else, it is not just outdated. In my opinion, it can be even dangerous because it creates the very paradox we started with in the beginning of the presentation, which is we demand innovation. Why systemically kill it? The creativity, kill it and kill the creativity spirit it requires. But we are not powerless against this paradox. The answer is not in a new software necessary or strict policy or a new procedure. And the answer can be in the mirror. The answer is in us. It lies in deliberate, courageous shift in how we select, develop, and empower our leaders. We must move beyond looking for just competence and experience. We must start actively identifying, cultivating, and championing leaders who possess like idiosyncratic traits of agility, creativity, and of course the ability to take the risk and go beyond. We can move forward. Yeah, I couldn't finish the presentation, of course, without having you with the broader landscape of inspiration. So the intersection of leadership, digital tech, and green energy is an incredibly rich field. So I identified several compelling directions that I believe as critical for our collective future. So I have listed a few here, but it's worth to mention that these are not topics of papers or so on, but rather directions. Due to time, we cannot discuss all, but I can mention a few. For instance, the dark side of resilience. As much resilience is a goal, is a need, and is a plus for a company, it may also have sides related to burnout, techno stress, and so on. Like, I encourage seeing things from different views. Also, we have the use of AI, and one of the speakers talked about this today. It's two-edged sword, and this includes also its effects on creativity. For example, be it for a researcher or for the leader or for the employees. Finally, what about the micro foundations of green innovation? What are the specific leader and employee traits that actually drive sustainable outcomes beyond corporate policy? This actually reminds me of the case study of Toyota because it's very interesting. The company managed to embed sustainability not only as a goal or as a branding, but it involves all the stakeholders in the process, including suppliers and everyone. There is a whole circulation of communication in the board of directors specifically related to sustainability. I think that case is very interesting to navigate. Like they successfully combined three things: digitalization, human capital, and of course sustainability. So this was very interesting for me. I could speak for another hour for any of one of these, but for now I offer them as a springboard for like your creativity and your own curiosity. Perhaps one of these directions resonates with your work or research. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Yasmin Nasri, for the insightful presentation on leadership paradox, unlocking talent and innovation at the digital green nexus. Ms. Yasmin reminded us that in today's complex and uncertain world, leadership is no longer about control, but about agility, creativity, and resilience. Ms. Yasmin research and professional experience beautifully bridge theory and practices, showing how organization can thrive by empowering adaptive, innovative leaders. Once again, thank you, Ms. Yasmin, for inspiring